Please welcome Dr. Juan Carlos Araque, Principal Scientist, Process Science and Modeling at Johnson & Johnson Innovative Medicine. He'll explore how causal inference is transforming pharmaceutical manufacturing. Welcome to the stage, Juan.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'd like you to think for a second on this hypothetical situation. What if we were sick today? Most likely, we won't be here in attending this wonderful conference, right? But much worse, what if we had some sort of chronic illness? Well, we will not be able to enjoy the things we love doing in life, right? At Johnson & Johnson, we care deeply about healthcare. We're a mission-driven company. The patients are the top priority for us and their health. And that's why we're very passionate every day about innovating across the full spectrum of healthcare, from pharma to medical devices. In the pharma sector, we have a specific organization called Manufacturing Sciences and Technology that precisely does that job, innovating and providing technical support for our network of manufacturing sites across the globe. Within this organization sits our group called Process Science and Modeling. And I like to think about us as some sort of data scientists on steroids. We're a group of chemical engineers, physicists, chemists who know deeply about our manufacturing processes and know quite a bit of mathematical and computational modeling. So we are about one single mission. How do we help these manufacturing sites make the best science-driven business decisions? And those business decisions might be across the full spectrum, from releasing a product real time to controlling actively the process, the manufacturing process, to improving cycle times and yields, to sustain the quality of our products across the full life cycle. So that's why we are embracing Causal AI. We cannot let the quality of our products to depend on chance. We need to do much better than that. The risk to our patients is very high. So we are very aware that we cannot make good business decisions based on traditional machine learning or data-driven modeling. We want to move into that paradigm shift of doing more scientific-based decisions. Sorry. And that's why we are partnering with our friends at Causal Lens. We have developed a comprehensive plan about using Causal AI and data science agents to enhance the way we make the business decision in commercial pharma manufacturing. And the causal drivers are many, but we're joining forces basically to empower our leadership to have tools to make these decisions in an intelligent way. And so we're combining our data with our expert knowledge about these processes, with causal discovery algorithms, with causal models to build and deploy the tools where we can do things like root cause analysis, tactical or strategic decision making. I'm going to take you through a few examples, high level, of how we have been doing that so far. So here is the first one. Let's say we have a typical situation of root cause analysis. One of our products, went out of a specification because it didn't meet the required release specification limits. And so we want to know what happened. So we were able to build a very detailed causal graph for this process, starting from over 100 of parameters to use human-guided causal discovery to develop the right model for this process. We then apply counterfactual predictions to understand where the process was failing. We realized that it was actually towards the end of the steps of the manufacturing process. And we were able to understand that this issue arises because of a recent process change we have done at the end of the manufacturing process. Basically, the way we were taking our samples for quality were not representative enough. So the actual quality assay was correct, but the way we were taking that sample was not. And so that led to this issue. And we were able to build and deploy a root cause analysis tool for the business after that. Now, moving into the more tactical decision-making process, we had this very interesting situation where we were asked to assess some type of timing intervention that was required due to a logistic change in one of our manufacturing facilities. And then the question was, what if this affects the critical quality attributes of our products? And so we went on and built a specific structural causal model for these situations that include, obviously, our parameters, timing parameters, and our critical quality attributes. We then applied intervention sampling across the full spectrum of short to medium and long times, and were able to assess the risk of each one of these situations. And so we were able to convey this to the business, and it turned out that the risk that was assessed was within the tolerance levels that were acceptable, so the manufacturing side was able to implement this change successfully. Then moving into the more strategic decision-making, we had this very typical situation too, where, hey, there are multiple options to improve the yield of our processes. We want to identify the actual effect of these potential improvements and decide whether or not we can make the required investments. So we were able, again, to build a structural causal model with the key parameters that were about this, intervention on the process and the final yield outcome. We then applied all the, beautiful math of causality. We were able to, use the calculus, mutilate the graph, and determine our effects in the yield. And in this case was a positive effect of increasing the yield. So that led to the business to actually be able to build a business case for this project, and now it's in the process of evaluating further down the road for the implementation. So across these experiences, right, we have realized that, again, we have learned about many of these successes. We want to be better about internalizing this capability, about communicating that to leadership, and making sure that we can scale that up to the rest of the organization. So looking forward into the future, we're very sure that, again, enhancing what we have done so far with the data science agents to automate these processes will lead us to a better place, and we're very much looking forward into that situation where we're having Causal AI as part of the standard way we take business critical decision making. And with that, thank you for your attention, and yeah, happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Araque, for that powerful look at innovation that saves lives. Next, we have a couple questions for you, and I'll bring Jerry to the stage to ask.
I would say if anybody else has any questions, thanks for going through that one. You did that quite fast for such a complex process. You made it simple. First question I have for you. So you mentioned that your team is a team of data scientists on steroids. Now, what if you had an additional 100 or maybe even 1,000 data scientists on steroids, right? And let's call them AI agents at this point. What do you think you could achieve that you may not be able to achieve today?
Well, definitely these different opportunities that we shown before, right, where in a particular, small branch of our product portfolio, we have a huge product portfolio going across what we call synthetics, sort of small molecules, large molecules, the biologicals, biopharmaceutical, and then cell and gene therapy. So a huge opportunity to scale up to many of these situations. Interestingly enough, when I was having this conversation with one of our data scientists from Causal Lens, many of our manufacturing processes at the commercial level are very standardized. We almost do the same for each and every product, except for a few variations. Yeah. So having that idea of automating the way we run through the data and scale up to different products is going to be the future for us.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. A lot of money there too, I think, from a cost savings perspective.
Products that are billions of dollars per year.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting. Yeah. Really cool. Second question I had for you is really with regard to, as you think about where you start. Some folks are, watching this, here in the room or online, and, they have models that they've created. They could be causal models, maybe not, by the way, causal models, but they're wondering, okay, agents. They sounds cool, right? And our partnership with you is just kind of getting started, if you will, on the agentic side. What is your sense on where would be maybe some recommendations on where to start? I guess if starting from where we are today, which is we have wonderful kind of output, wonderful model, but now we have to agentify. Like now we have to think about workflows. Yeah. Where would you start?
I mean, definitely, I love that video that Darko showed at the beginning, where you were doing this root cause analysis in this sort of chat way with an agent, right? I would love our, investigators every time they're running one of these root cause analysis investigations. It takes them about a month to go through everything to, solve just one case. So the way we scale that up is by hiring a lot of people, right? Yeah. If we have these kind of tools, right, can we do it in a day or less, right? And then automate the way we do it, but also to scale up, right? In terms of how do we solve these faster, and then develop corrective and preventive actions that will get us to a better place, right? Because if it takes us a month to understand what caused a problem, right, that's time that we're losing, especially time for the patients and obviously profit for the company.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
Yeah.
I think we have a few minutes, right? Any questions maybe inside the room? Anybody want to ask any questions? Yes.
So while, the agentic AI offers a lot of traditional, groundwork that we do, but a lot of times, some of that involves a lot of critical thinking in terms of the right questions we can ask. Sorry. And the right way to automate it, because the AI may not be able to give you the best solution always, because it's limited with the data it's trained on. Yeah. And so how do you compensate for that?
Well, what we do in pharma, which is a very unique industry, is that we're a very regulated type of industry, right? And so there's no way that we can let to automated systems to do everything. There's always a human in the loop. And so that's obviously that human in the loop now will be able to do more in less times. And obviously they bring in their knowledge, the subject matter expert knowledge into this process, and we'll be able to potentially enhance the way we do this and how do we, keep fine-tuning these models to be better at what they do. But definitely, in the foreseeable future, we don't see that fully automated where there is no humans. There will be always a human in the loop.
I think financial services is very similar to that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Juan. That was
You're very
fantastic.
welcome.
Really appreciate your time.
A pleasure.